It's been nearly 12 years since Casey Pitzer disappeared in the early morning hours of St. Patrick's Day 2013. And while her body turned up about a week later and the coroner ruled her death a drowning, the investigation has only turned up evidence that has led to more questions than answers. Casey was in a physical altercation with her friend Tammy McKay the night she disappeared. McKay's boyfriend, Michael Hartley, and his friend, Brendan Reed, say they found Casey, but instead of taking her directly home, a 9-minute drive, they began driving 14 minutes in another direction to Hartley's house. Why?
Nothing was adding up.
Casey's sisters say the lead detective in the case told them Hartley and Reed took polygraph tests.
Josh Riley told us that they came back and passed with flying colors.
The lie detector?
Yes, that both boys passed the lie detector test with flying colors.
They did not. Hartley's results came back inconclusive. Reed's test came back as deceptive. Why would the detective tell the sisters otherwise? Riley wrote in a report that he searched the car driven by the men and he did not find any evidence of a struggle. But there were never forensics done on the car or the men. No DNA samples taken. Why? After Casey's body was pulled from a nearby retention pond a week later, autopsy photos show she was still gripping a clump of grass in one hand.
She was raped, choked to death, thrown in the pond.
Casey's father says he believes his daughter was gripping the grass because she was being dragged to the pond against her will. He also points to an autopsy photo showing discoloration on Casey's neck as evidence she was either choked or held by her neck underwater.
Most commonly, there would be, hyoid bone fracture.
We showed the autopsy results to the Hamilton County coroner, who noted no obvious signs of strangulation, and the neck discoloration, she says, was not necessarily conclusive.
There's so many changes that happen to the body over a period of time, but especially when they're underwater.
Still, Dr. Samarco says she would have had DNA samples taken from the suspects and compared them to the sexual assault kit taken from Casey. But that kit was never sent to BCI, and the coroner swabs were destroyed when police, just 5 years after Casey's death, cleared out their evidence locker. Why? Brian Scheidecker was an assistant prosecutor in 2013. In 2016, he became Wilmington's director of public safety.
Did it ever occur to you to perhaps direct the police department to reopen this case?
I never had anyone from the police department come to me and say, hey, we should look at this, or we should open this back up. And no, it did not.
But now he's the county prosecutor and says he plans to review the case. But Wilmington's current chief of police is skeptical.
Based off of everything that I've seen in here, there's no indication that she was murdered.
Still, Chief Wilson told me our investigation has motivated him to refer the case to the FBI. The Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigations in 2022 turned down the case, but in its review, it showed the case had no known suspects, ignoring Hartley and Reed.
With a lot of the evidence destroyed, with the amount of time that has passed, with memories fading the way they do, will we ever know what happened to Casey Pitzer?
The chief answered by saying Casey's dad asked him the same thing.
Do you believe in God? And his answer was yes, and I told him that may be the only time that you get the answers that you want.
The case has taken its toll on this town and on the people who knew and loved Casey. Casey's boyfriend, Eric Haig, who says he felt he did not respond quickly enough to her request for a ride home that night.
I caused 2 boys to not have a mom, and I felt extremely guilty about that, and I was planning to take my own life because I couldn't cope with that.
Haig says finding God saved him.
Have you ever considered that perhaps your daughter had too much to drink, was walking home, and dove into that pond or fell into that pond and drowned?
No way.
Greg Pitzer says he tries to visit Casey's grave once a week so he can reassure her that he has not given up.
Just hang in there. Stay with me. We'll beat this, and we will get him.
Will we ever know exactly what happened to Casey Pitzer? It's unlikely unless law enforcement decides to reopen the case. If not, the truth may have drowned along with that young mother nearly 12 years ago. This is David Winter reporting.